everyone. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. Today is Wednesday, April 19th, and it is a total solar eclipse plus a new moon in Aries. So I'm going to do this one quickly because we have the spirit circle tonight. But with this energy, we have a second new moon in Aries, plus the eclipse season has started. So there is very much a do-over energy happening with this combo. There's a lot of retracing your steps, looking at what you created before and seeing if you're on the right path. So that is one of the themes that's coming up with this particular new moon energy. And of course, in just 2 days from now, we are going to have Mercury go retrograde. And that's all about looking over your steps and retracing and trying to figure out and work through to see how you could do something better, if there's a better way to move forward in a certain area. And whenever you're working with lunar energy, you always want to consider the house that the moon falls in for you. So you look at the sign, and the sign of the moon is related to what house it falls in for you. So for example, my Aries in my chart is in my 11th house. So this moon would affect my 11th house. So if you want to know what house it's affecting for you, take a look at your natal chart and just look for where Aries falls into your chart. And that's the house that's going to have some redo, reworking energy and reconsidering a path forward for you. So the message from my team today is kind of a simple one. They said this energy puts you up in your head quite a bit. And so they want us to move the energy down through the body. And the best way to do that is through movement. I highly recommend dancing because it's fun. And I think that that's a good way to sort of let go of any stress or tension that's happening. But even just shaking, stomping, grounding yourself, pull the energy down. The reason why they say it's literally up in the head, because Aries is the sign that literally rules the head, and Mercury is activating right now, and that also rules the mind. So we've got literal head and the mind putting a lot of emphasis up here, and there's energy that we need to move through the body. So you probably might notice that. I actually noticed it quite a bit, that when I put music on today, that it naturally got my body to want moving, and it really helped me ground the energy. It's easy for me to get stuck in my head, so it was a really good message, and following the advice really helped things flow and feel better. Another thing to note is that there is a strong square between the sun and moon and Pluto that's happening today, but it's probably going to ride out through the end of at least through the end of the day, maybe into tomorrow. But with that comes this sort of tension energy as something's being purged, right? There's a lot of letting go and purging with this particular lunation. And so you're just going to notice that you might be a little bit more sensitive, maybe easy to argue with people. And with this placement coupled with a conjunction to Jupiter expands. So whatever you're focusing on doubles kind of in energy. And if you notice that you're getting worked up, and if you don't ground that energy, like I said, through movement or dancing, going for a walk, something, you might notice that what irritates you seems to double or increase. But when you move into a place of relaxing or letting go and calming down, that will double for you. So we've got this sort of doubling energy going on. It's a good time to take advantage of it. Be really conscious so that you can double what you'd like to experience more of. And with that, let's do today's karma cards. All right, if you're new to karma cards, let me quickly show you how these work. I have 3 decks here: planets, signs of the zodiac, and the houses of astrology. And I've already asked my team, what is the message you have for us this week? And I get 2 sets of answers, a set in red, which are action related, and a set in blue, which are outcome related. And the way that you play is you tune in with that beautiful intuition of yours and feel what feels most resonant for you. Are you looking for action related guidance, or you want to see how things resolve during the next 7 days? And of course, you can always choose both. And while you're choosing, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for April 19th through April 26th. And the flavor All right, it's very much about letting go. So the South Node returns. I think we had the South Node last week. This is all about looking back, letting go, reflecting, surrendering. In the sign of Pisces, which has to do with that higher connection, and sort of the ability to sort of pierce beyond the veil. And the veil being maybe the metaphysical veil between physical and non-physical, but also the veil between the conscious and the subconscious. And in the fourth house, which is the past. So letting go of what's in the subconscious around your past. All right, the spiritual action at this time is to remember your dreams as you did in the past. So this has me thinking about how they're talking about today is about this redo energy, or looking at the path you're on and seeing if it's the path that you intended to be on. It's sort of this review of, where did I expect things to go? Where did I want things to go? And where are they now? So we're being asked to really think about our dreams for our life. What did we think about a year ago? Where did we want things to go? How about 5 years ago, right? Think about where you thought you were going to go. Look at the path now. Are you satisfied? Or do you feel like you really veered away from something that you really wanted? So now's a time of assessment. It's not necessarily that you have to change, but you want to look at, is it working? Is it in alignment? Or did I take myself off track? And do I feel aligned to that now? Or am I still aligned to this bigger vision I was holding in the past? Mental action. Reconsider your idealization of your home or family base. Idealization is really interesting right now, and I feel like with Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which is the sign of ultimate idealization, ideology is really getting looked at. Sorry, that's my cat has allergies, so you might hear him coughing in the background. He sounds like a duck, you poor guy. All right. So again, reconsider your idealizations of your home, base, or family. So how are you idealizing your foundation? You could look at the family you grew up with, you could look at the family you're in now, you could look at what you consider your foundation for living. But what we're looking at is noticing what idealization does. Idealization serves a purpose, but just like everything else, if it's taken out of proportion, it takes you out of balance, right? You're not actually living in the reality that you're experiencing, but rather changing it to fit an ideal, or you're demanding yourself to change to fit an ideal. But one way or the other, sometimes when ideology kicks in, it takes us out of reality. And that's very Piscean, Neptunian energy. It's not consistent. And so with Saturn coming into the sign of Pisces, it's going to bring some of that weight and grounding, some of the learning and structure. And so again, this reconsider energy is very strong during this time period. Physical action at this time. Now is not the time to be a part of something overwhelming and do what makes you feel secure. So with an eclipse, it's really interesting because when it comes to traditional astrology, during a new moon eclipse, you actually don't focus on manifesting. And that's because the light of the sun, right, is being eclipsed. So this steady, consistent energy, which is represented by the sun, is getting eclipsed, creating a disruption, which means that something bigger that you're working towards could easily be disrupted, or not go as planned, or get redirected somehow. The energy is considered sort of screwy, and so manifesting is not suggested during this window. So again, it's all about reflection. It's all about considering. And interestingly enough, I'm a person who loves to take action. When I take action, I do feel a sense of security, but it's letting us know now that action, at least for today, and maybe till we get through the end of the week, so after Mercury Retrograde really starts, this is not a week where there's, my team's like ka-ching on that one. It's not a week where big actions take place, and it's not a time to focus on the manifesting, but rather think about what it was I intended to manifest, and am I on the right track, and how did I get off, or what do I do to align back to it, or align the new path, right? It's an alignment and adjustment. It's like tires being rotated is what they're saying. Time to rotate the tires, not time to drive. All right, so now let's do outcomes for the South Node in Pisces in the fourth house of the past and our foundations. The spiritual outcome at this time, there will not be spirituality to ultimately experience what makes you feel secure. That's not fun. I think part of it is because this is a period of reflection and looking backwards, where spirituality is more of a present moment activity where you're presently connecting. This one's asking you literally to look at the past, look back, assess, take notes, look at track. It's a tracking period, and so you might not feel like you're being guided or moving towards something destined, right? You might not feel like there are times when, even when I'm with my team, where the connection feels not as strong as other times. Right now, today's been pretty strong, and for the last week or so, I felt pretty strong, but I have had those periods where I know that they're with me and I know that I'm being guided, but it's almost like radio silence, and it's saying, this is kind of one of those periods that you could kind of expect that, where it might feel like you're getting radio silence. Trust me, they're there, but this is a point where we are supposed to consider the actions that create the present moment and consider if there were any errors made that we need to correct now. That's the action at this time. Mental outcome, anxiety about trusting your psychic knowledge of support. Boom. That literally fills in the blank of what I was saying. You are supported. That sense that you get, that you have that support. Like I said, if you're a person who gets a lot of clairaudient messages or a lot of visuals, or you get the clairsentience where you're feeling it and those things feel sort of like offline, this is a test of trust, right? And that can create mental anxiety. It can create a feeling of, uh-oh, I've done something wrong, or I've lost a connection, or I got on the wrong timeline. None of that's happening. It's more of like respectful silence so that you can do the assessment work that's being asked of us. And it's being asked in a big way. I mean, multiple planets are talking about this review. The cards are talking about a review. They're really trying to make it clear this is a review period. We're meant to look over our test scores and look back at our answers and see, did I get that? Is that what I meant to do? How do I fix it? How would I move forward? That's the period we're in right now. And finally, physical outcome, trouble resulting from the indecision of or about your home base or family. So again, this is about what I'm really getting it's about isn't so much our physical families. I'm getting more, it's about your internal sense of security, right? Which this card can also represent. It can represent your internal self. It's ruled by Cancer, who is all about protecting. It's all about security. They've got that hard shell and a soft inside, and that's what they're protecting, is their internal self. And Cancer is one of the signs that's very good at tapping into their internal self, and we're all being nudged to do that right now. So the indecision might be around the fact that, or the trouble because of the indecision might be because we have yet to do the work they're asking us to do, the review, the looking over, the checking the paths and the alignments. I kind of feel like until you do that work, you might feel like things aren't working or something's going on internally where it's like my internal compass is sort of spinning right now. I think that feeling is a temporary feeling. And when we actually start doing the sometimes tedious, sometimes long work of internal review, that we actually start to feel the needle point north again, and we start to go, okay, I've locked back into it. This is the path now, or no, that's the path, right? Once we do that, we get through this period of feeling sort of uncentered, and it's only uncentered until we actually engage in what the cosmos is guiding us to, which is a reflection and a redo, a change of plans, or a reset of some sort. And as we engage with that, we start to feel a sense of direction And moving through Mercury retrograde should be a little easier. But we're going to talk about that more next week. So until then, I'm wishing you all the best. Take it easy. Your team's still there, even if it feels like they're very foggy or far away. They're definitely with you. Sending you lots of love. Mwah.